So, every one of us who's out here doing business knows that video is important, right? Live streaming like this, or if you're doing, recorded videos, we know that these are vital to our business. And we know we want them to look as good as possible. But hiring a videographer, hiring an editor, trying to do it ourselves all feels so overwhelming. But I've got really good news for you, because the tool that I fell in love with many years ago just keeps getting better, and that's Camtasia 2021 is what we're going to talk about. They're adding all kinds of new stuff all the time, but it is by far the easiest video editor I've ever used, and yet it has all of the power of all the complicated systems out there. And you know what? It makes it really easy for us to look good. So I'm going to show you the 5 things that they've added to this version. They added way more than that, but I'm going to show you my top 5 that I'm using all the time now, so that you can kind of get a feel for it, and maybe you'll want to give it a try, because I highly recommend you try this. Let's get it started. Okay, so we know, right? Video is super important, but it's a little intimidating, right? Not all of us have grown up editing video. Very few of us actually have, right? It's a skill, and when you start to look at all the pieces involved, it can feel like a lot. And that absolutely was me, right? I didn't have time to go and spend 5 years learning all the ins and outs of video editing. However, many years ago, I needed to start doing it for a project at work. Nobody else was stepping up, so I did. And in my typical fashion, I went digging to see, and I tried all the, I started with Adobe, right? That's where everybody starts. And I was just like, it was just too much. My system couldn't handle it. It just was not working. Then I found out that the tool I already loved, Snagit, which I have been using forever and cannot recommend highly enough, I found out that that company, TechSmith, also had a video editing tool, which I was like, oh yes, please. So I downloaded the trial and gave it, and I've been in love with it ever since. And it just keeps getting better all the time. And you can't say that about all the tools out there, but I can about this one, because these folks are really focused on giving us the tools we need to make our stuff look good without making it super overwhelming, right? They don't just throw stuff at us just for the heck of it. They give us the pieces that we need to make life easier for us and make our videos much better. And what they've made available to us in the past few years is just mind-blowing. So I'm going to keep it to 5, because I could spend hours going through this, and I may do a series on this, because it is the kind of tool that can really amp up the content you're putting out there without stressing you out. There's a win, right? So yeah, we're going to get started. We're going to go into this. I'll show you just high level. If there is anything that you want me to go into more detail on, please don't hesitate to let me know. Throw it in the comments, reach out, let me know which ones you want me to go into more detail on, and I am more than happy to do that, because this is a tool. You know how I am, right? Yes, there is an affiliate link in the descriptions if you want to give this a try, right? You get a free trial. And then if you do buy it, I get a couple pennies at it. But that's not why I do this. And I think those of you who have been watching me for a while know that, right? I recommend tools that I use, right? That makes my life easier, makes me produce better stuff, makes me get things done faster for clients. But more importantly, okay, it's one thing for me, because I'm kind of techie, obviously. I have introduced this tool to people who have never done video editing, right? And we've done a little training. I pointed them to the phenomenal training that TechSmith has available. And these people are using this tool happily. Right? That they have thanked me for it. And so that's what that's why I bring to you, because this not only is something that I use and love, but I have seen other people use and love very successfully, and I believe you can too. So let's just go ahead and dive into this, right? So like I said, there's going to be 5. Some of them I'm going to show you real quick, and some we'll just talk about. Let me bring up the magic window. Here we go. Oh, right, we don't need the caption on this one. All right, so this is the basic layout of it. It's real simple. You've got your basic controls up here. You've got your navigation. This is go into all the cool stuff that they give you here. This is your main work area. This is settings that come up depending on what it is that you have active that you can adjust, like properties on. And down here is just your typical video stuff, right? Where you've got all the elements that you're using. Now, I've just thrown together some random pieces of stuff that I've played around with on my phone or whatever, because I just want to show you the concepts. It's not about, hey, look at my great video. This is just really pieces of stuff just there because I needed to have something to show you. So let's start off with the new thing. Now, I have always loved the Camtasia transitions, and I've never felt like I was missing anything. Well, guess what? They've added 75 new transitions. And yes, I'm having a good time. Now, transitions are something, think of them like the spice, right? You're adding to your video. You don't, when you're making dinner, right? You don't go to the spice cabinet and take them all and dump them into whatever you're cooking, right? You use a little bit of the right things at the right point, at the right levels, just to add that extra little touch. And that's the whole trick here. So, I mean, just flipping through here, you do notice that there is a bunch more. And I've found some really good uses for some of these already. So it's just something fun to try. So here's just a silly little video I took out in the snow. I live in the Northeast, and after all these years, I still find snow fun to watch. So we'll just grab one and I'll show you how it works. So this is the video, just on its own. It's just playing, it's just the snow falling. But, you can make it a little bit more interesting. So I'm just going to pick something random that will have a pretty dramatic input effect so that you can see it. Let's see. The hexagons are kind of cool. Let's try the hexagons. So to use a transition in this tool, you take it and you drag it down to the video. Okay, and then you've got this little line here, so you can adjust how long or short that transition is. So I'm just going to play it. So that's it. With no extra effort on my part, all I did was pick one and drag it. That's good to go, right? That already looks better. Let me just... Oop, no, don't want to do that. There we go. Okay, so I'm just going to drag another one in just so you can see. Let's just try another one. Here, this one looks pretty dramatic. Let's try that one. Okay, so same thing, right? We just do it, and totally different feel to my silly little video about snow. So 75, plenty to use. Don't use them all at once. Little self-control. But that's, oh, hey folks, how you doing? I'm kind of a techie. Well, everything is on a sliding scale. So for some people, I'm a techie. For other people, I'm sort of a techie. It kind of depends. You miss the fact that you don't need Final Cut. No, you don't. You absolutely do not. Matter of fact, I don't even recommend it. I know the people who are pros like to say they're using all the Adobe tools. You don't need it. You can do all this cool stuff in this tool. So this is the tool. For those of you who've been following along for a while, I told you the story already, but real quick. My day gig has been wanting to do, my boss there has been wanting to do training videos forever. And they've been fighting her, and they've been digging her heels in and all, digging their heels in. So I said, the heck with it. Well, let's just do it, right? Worst comes to worst, we have to apologize. So I think we started with 5. We did a bundle of 5. I recorded them remote, right? Because we couldn't all be in the same room. That I use vMix for. And then I brought them in and edited them in here. I created an intro. I created an outro. I did some transitions. I added a few markers. I did some zooming. Long story short, not only did we not have to apologize, but 3 other departments in the company reached out to my boss wanting the contact name of the agency they used to create the videos. Me, one person in Camtasia using what they give you. So that's why we're talking about this tonight, because it's freaking awesome. Well, not that one. This one. So yes, it's really, really awesome. Okay, so that's the transitions. There's nothing more to say about it. There's 75 of them. They are super easy. Like I said, it's a drag and drop situation. You don't like it, you undo it, and you pick a different one, and you're good to go. And they have the ones that are more subtle. I picked, the kind of dramatic ones because I wanted you to be able to see what I was talking about. But, they've got, your basic, wipes and fades and all that kind of stuff, too. I mean, most of my stuff is some sort of a fade through black or something like that. But there's lots here to play with. Okay, I'm sorry. Now I have to see. We've got circle crop. Circle reveal. Let's try circle reveal. I haven't tried that one yet. Okay, and then we're going to go back, and we're going to play. And so you can see, hey, that's kind of cool, right? Couldn't you see do it sort of like a dramatic title entrance here? That's kind of cool. Okay, so I've just segued myself. Let's talk about text. Okay, so one of the things I did when I was doing the video for work was I created titles, right? So you can absolutely put text in here, right? Here's my very cool, aren't you impressed with my video title, right? But it's super easy. Well, I'll show you how I did it in a minute, but one of the new features they give you is motion blur effect. So one of the things I like to do is take, let's see, where is what? Oh, here. So they give you all these behaviors, and these have been around in Camtasia for a while. So these are different things that you can have your text do, right? They can fly in, it can jump and fall. Again, just to give it a little bit more oomph, right? Than just, not that this is not good, not that this is not functional. Being able to put the text there at a certain point in the timeline, have it come in, have it go away, right? That is perfectly functional and useful. But it's more fun to do this kind of stuff. So, like, let's say we take this little explode thing, right? And then you come in, and that's kind of cool, right? So if you see, like, it stays very crisp the whole time. So while it's not super realistic, it gets the job done. However, they've given us a new tool. Let me see if I can find it now. Visual effects. Yes, visual effects. Okay, so in visual effects, and by the way, there's a ton of these too. Big fun. Actually, is this it? No. I'm sorry, that's the one I'm going to show you next. Where did I put it? Motion blur. It's an effect. Should be visual effect. I'm probably looking right at it. There it is. It's right down there. So, just to refresh, right? Got the title. We added a little action to it to make it interesting. You can layer on these things, right? So I've already added that little explosion of text. Now I can add this motion blur to it, and it gives it ever so subtly just a little touch of blur. So you see, like before when we were on this kind of a view, and actually we can go back to it. See how crisp that was, right? But that's not how things actually move, right? Our eye is used to seeing a little bit of blur in motion. So with this layered on top of the other one, you get that ever so slight touch of motion, which makes it feel more real to the eye and the brain. And you can come over here and adjust it to make it more dramatic or less dramatic, depending on what you're looking for, the look you're looking for. And you can just keep playing with it and dial it in until it's exactly the way you want it. Pretty cool, huh? And this will work on other things in text. I think for like the titles, this is kind of a cool thing. It kind of works, right? Guys, you know how to find me. You can always reach out if you have questions. I don't keep these things secret. It is cool. Like this is the kind of tool that I go down the rabbit hole on, because I'm like, okay, you know, like I'm going to take 15 minutes, I'm going to go in, I'm going to do this thing, and 4 hours later I'm still playing, just because, not because it takes long, but because I like playing with it. Okay, so there we go. That's 2, right? 75 transitions, now motion blur. Okay, let's skip ahead here a little bit. So there's times where like you want to do a little bit of a overlay kind of thing, right? So again, just my silly little video in the background, and here's Murphy playing. And you can totally do this, right? You can bring in a little video and do sort of a pip thing. Now this could be you talking, it could be whatever you need it to be. This is obviously not a realistic example, it's just showing you the concept. So the other thing that you can do now is you can do corner rounding, which unfortunately I already have installed on this one. Do we have it on this one? See how we're playing. Okay, so I'll show you what it does, and then I'll show you how you add it, right? So you've got it selected. This is this little video up here, right? And it works as a square. It's totally functional, nothing that you couldn't do. But by adding the corner rounding, which is this piece here, you can give it a better look, right? So you can do all the corners, right? Just make it like that. That kind of works. It's not a square, so it gets kind of funky a little bit. But you can also just choose which corner. So if you just want, 2 corners square and 2 rounded, you can do that. Again, it's the kind of thing that you can do, as much dramatic. Like if you wanted it to look like an eyeball, you totally could. You could make it look like all of these little shapes. But it's just that simple now. Right? You don't have to build some sort of special overlay. You don't have to do any masking on it. You just do this, and when this comes in, it's just this little round. And again, it gives it a little bit more polish. Nobody's going to come to you going, I have to buy your product because you did rounded corners. But it does up the ante a little bit on the quality you're putting out, which does have an impression on people, right? It does help to kind of separate you from the crowd a little bit. And thanks to Camtasia, it's so easy. You have to be careful not to get carried away with it. So if we skip over to this next bit, which is just another video, and I'll just apologize if it makes anybody sick, because it's not good. We were playing, and it's very hard to get good video of the doggy while we're both playing. It's, we really need a third person. But so this one is square, right? So if I wanted it to do the overlay thing, I can just resize it. Oops, would help to have it selected. There we go. Okay, and make it whatever size I want, and then I've got this one underneath, and that one's bigger, and I can position this wherever I want. Maybe I'm doing a compare and contrast of the fun we have, in the summer versus what goes on in the winter here. So if I wanted to rounded corner this, all I have to do is come over here and drag it down. Come on. Seriously? No, you have to have it selected. There we go, and then drag it down. And when it goes green like that, then you're adding it in the right place. Now, it doesn't automatically do anything, right? You have to come over here and you've got to do it yourself with the settings. But that's all it's the same thing as what we did here. We just rearrange it and you're good to go. So, rounded corners could not be easier. Is something I've never tried to do in here because I couldn't figure out how to do it quickly, so I never did. Now, you'll be seeing rounded corners in my videos. I can guarantee that. Alrighty, so... I did want to just real quick too, so just to show you how easy, this is not new, but as far as adding text, like if I wanted to add a title to this, you come into the call outs. They've got a whole bunch of ones. I've got it set. You can like view it by type, or you can have everything here. You literally just come, you drag it, right? If you want it with the white box behind it, or if you just wanted, like I had over there, if you wanted it see-through, you just bring it in, and then you just come in here and say, hello world, right? And that's all you have to do. And you can change the font, you can change the size. Come here. Come on, there we go. Right? You can change the color, right? So if you, it opened all the way up over here. Come down here, please. Seriously, you just were working. Okay, well, there's a little color thing. I don't know why it's not moving for me, but it's up at the top right now. But you can change the color of your text. You can do all the things that you could ever possibly want to do, plus then, add these little activities to it to make it more interesting. That's it. You can have a lot of fun with this. I'll just warn you now. All right. So let's see if there's any questions about that before I go on to the next ones. Okay. Sammy, we're talking about the new version of Camtasia, which is a video editor. By the way, it's not just a video editor, and this is not new either. So we're focusing on the 5 new things that I'm using the most right now, but most people think it's a video editor, and it absolutely is. Clearly, that's what we're playing with. But you can also record from here, right? So we're talking video, right? You can do voiceover. You could do a podcast in this tool. It's so freaking amazing. I love it. Okay, so let's talk about something else that they've added that I'm just starting to play with, but I see so much potential in. There is this thing that's evidently been floating around for longer than a couple of minutes, called Lottie files. This is a resource where you can get free, and then there's also a paid level where you can like get fancier things, but you can get these free little animations to use in your videos, in your social media stuff and all that. Well, now Camtasia takes in this file format so that you can use this inside of the content you create in Camtasia. Fair warning, this is a rabbit hole because there's so much cool stuff in here and there's such variety. I'm really happy they just added categories because this is making it easier to go in and kind of focus, because I do get kind of lost. Not in a bad way, but because I'm really into this. Okay, my computer's not happy that I've got all this animation and a video editor going at the same time, so we'll give it a second. But now you can go to Lottie, you just create an account. Like I said, you can just download stuff for free. There's a lot. And they're adding to it all the time. And these are not cheesy little animations. Like, people are spending time on this stuff. That was, when I first heard about it, I'm like, okay, there might be something useful there. But I was really impressed with the quality that I found here, because people are doing professional stuff and making it available here. I'm sure that there's some, maybe it's a way of getting seen. Like I said, you can hire the artists that are posting things there. But this, even the stuff that's just available for free is so good. I'm a little surprised. Pleasantly surprised. And it does really start to spark the ideas of, what you might be able to do, right? So, if you've got cooking content, they've got stuff for that. They've got, digital stuff. Like, there's just a lot of stuff. Now, this down here, so you can see you can buy individual pieces. If you want to do that, there's a search up here, so you can search by topic or idea or whatever. And then there's all of these little animations that are here for you to play with. And what I found, because I of course, I find these things, I get excited, I start playing with them. And then the universe brings somebody to me who goes, do you do this kind of work? And I'm like, no, but let me show you something. Because what I was impressed by was the fact that you can find things from different artists even where the theming of it is close enough that it feels cohesive, right? So that one of the problems when using these kinds of resources sometimes is that the pieces don't fit together, right? They look too different. The style is too different. It's jarring. You can find stuff like, this fox and this runner come from different artists, but they would work together because of the colors that they're using and the style that they're using, that these would work together. Maybe this, maybe not, but you can definitely piece together enough that you could build scenes with this stuff and keep it looking professional because it all looks cohesive. This is getting a lot of use. The people who build games are all over this. I'm seeing it more and more on social media and all that kind of stuff. So this is just a great resource just in general. So it's a sort of a bonus tip. But for us, for our purposes right here, the fact that you can take these files and put them right into Camtasia and work with them and resize them and do some minor editing and all that, mind-blowing for me. I love animation, and there's an artist that I follow over on Twitch, Jer Henning. He's magic. Like, anybody who can do real art, I'm totally impressed with, because I can't. Like, I can only draw a straight line if I've got my stylus and a graphics tool. He can sit down, and he does all the time on stream, and create art, but he's gotten into animation over the past year, and so his brain just works for this stuff, right? He's like, I think I wanted to do this, and he goes into these different tools and he just makes it happen. I've tried reproducing the stuff he does because he puts the videos up, and I've tried doing step by step, and I just struggle with it. It would take me too much time. I could just go here and find what I want and put it in there. So I'm working on some things. You'll see it. And again, if you'd like to see more about it, just let me know. Yes, Sammy, it is a screen recorder too. So we're talking Camtasia. Camtasia is and has been for a long time a screen recording tool. But it's not just the screen. You can also, you can record yourself too, right? So if you have a camera, you could bring that in and do it. So you can't live stream through Camtasia, I don't think. No, I don't think so. No, but you can create video, right? You can bring in all the pieces that you want, and you can do the audio. You can bring in music tracks. You can do all that kind of stuff. I'm saying you can bring in a camera. I don't know if you can. I think you'd have to record the video and then bring it in. I'll have to look at that. Definitely does screen recording because I do that all the time. That's how I did the stuff for work. I had the person doing the voiceover and then walking through it, and it works. Right. These little touches of animation can add such value to the content you're doing, either as a communicating, a point, or just catching the eye. There's something about the animation that, the brain just reacts to, because that's what we see in our world. But it also can communicate quickly a concept that might take a long time to explain. So, something like this, this could be riches, it could be success, it could be, finding the treasure, whatever it is. But there's just a lot of uses for this kind of stuff that makes it fun. And the fact that this now works in Camtasia, day and night, love it. So yeah, for anybody who's geeky about this, and I won't spend a lot on this, but it's JSON programming for these animation files. If you're an artist, you should go and check this out, because they've got a whole thing about how to get posted on here and how to create the files and all kinds of stuff. It's very, very cool, and now it works with Camtasia, so that's a big win. Hang on, I've got multiple doggies and I'm hearing noises. Okay. Gotta watch those noises with the doggies. Alrighty, so the next thing that I wanted to talk about that is new is, I could demo it, but you wouldn't really hear it because I didn't set up for that. But in Camtasia now, you can use one of those drag and drop things I showed you to emphasize audio. So what that does is if you've got, a recording and maybe you've got a music bed under it, right, and then you've got a voiceover, but you're fighting, because the two were too close to the same level, you can use this piece to go in and drag over the music, and then as the voiceover starts, the music will automatically drop and then come back up when the voiceover part ends. Again, this is something that I would have struggled with for hours to try to get it exactly right. And with this tool, I just bring it in and I move those little side pieces to cover the piece that I want, and it just works. It's magic. It really is freaking magic. Let's see here. What are we saying? You use Adobe Premiere or Final Cut Pro for projects, so I don't know if I could switch. Well, and I mean, if you've got a tool that you like, you don't have to, right? Like I said, I tried both of those, and those are great tools, don't get me wrong, but this for me is faster, easier, and the price is better. So, we'll talk about that in a minute. But this just works for me. Camtasia has always been the solution when I need to go in and do something, have it turn out professional, but don't give up 2 weeks of my life to get it done. Because I very often don't have 2 weeks. It's usually I needed this yesterday. That's how my work comes through. So yeah, the files, I don't know. I've never looked into it. I should say, I don't know if you could import those files and use them. But like I said, if you're happy with what you've got, you don't need it. The whole reason I'm doing this is for the people who need to do this kind of work, are intimidated or can't afford or don't want to take the time to learn the much more complicated world of Adobe Premiere and even Final Cut Pro. For me, Camtasia falls into the same category as vMix, right? The first time you walked into vMix, I was kind of like, whoa. And then I started to understand it, and I started off simple, and now I'm constantly finding new ways to make it work, and I'm using more of the functionality. Camtasia is exactly the same for me. First time I was like, okay, I'd seen some video editing tools, I'm like, all right. But again, I started off simple, right? Get some basic editing done and out the door to make the client happy. But then I'm like, oh, well, okay, it does this. Let me try that. And again, I just layer on. Every project I do, I try to learn something new on it. And with Camtasia, there's always something new to learn. And then they're always giving us new stuff. The other reason I really like Camtasia is because TechSmith makes training available for free, which is phenomenal, right? They really get down and they explain it in real people terms. And they, take you step by step through it. And they've got it broken up very nicely. And I'm a big fan of that. The other thing I like about Camtasia, and just TechSmith in general, is they actually have resources, free and paid, that you can get to bring in. So for example, I'll tell you my secret. The intro and the outro that I used for the training videos for the day gig were freebies from TechSmith. I took them, I modified them, so, if you knew them, you might recognize the pieces in it, but it's completely customizable, but it gave me a quick starting point. I went in, adjusted everything, used the corporate colors, just some timing, added some other elements, and made it work for their audience. And I looked like a rock star. And it really couldn't have been easier. If I had to do that from scratch, I'd probably still be working on it. So it's all about what you need and what works for you. But for people who are not looking to be, on Netflix, or although you probably could create stuff, I'm not downplaying the quality of Camtasia. I'm just saying for people who are not going to video school but need to do something like this tool is absolutely a gem, and gives you all the flexibility you need, right, without being overwhelming. If you just need to do one thing, you go in and do the one thing and it's good to go. So that's what I love about it. All right, so as usual, right, you know how I am. I like to throw in the extra tip. And so we're going to do that here. And I'm just realizing I didn't put this link in, but I will put the link in because the link for Camtasia is in the description. Again, it is an affiliate link. That's not why I'm doing this. I'm doing this because I truly love it. They've recently come out with this tool called Audiate. I think I'm saying that right. And you can do all kinds of editing of audio in Camtasia. And it comes out really nice. But if you're an audiophile, right, or you're looking to take it to the next level, especially maybe if you're doing a podcast or that kind of thing, so where the audio needs to be maybe a little bit higher than you would get for most tools, this tool that they've made available, and again, free trial, Audiate, is very good. The bonus for us is you can use this, if you're going to go for it, you can use this in conjunction with Camtasia and send the files back and forth. Now, Sammy, as you know, somebody who's playing in the Adobe world, that's a pretty common thing in Adobe, right? You can do something in one tool, you know, and connect it to the other. You can also do that with the Affinity graphic tools. But this is new for Camtasia, and it's a fairly new product for TechSmith. So it's great to see that they made that integration, you know, so quickly. I'm guessing it was probably in the original plans, because it did happen very quickly. So this is a way, if you know that audio, you know, is super important to you and you need to take it to the next level, you can go in here and you can edit at a deeper level. You have even more audio controls. Camtasia has the basics, gets the job done. This takes it to the next level, and you could smoothly go back and forth and work in both worlds to get things exactly the way you want them, if that's important to you. So that's number 6. You know me, I never stuck with just 5. But that is the other thing that I wanted to recommend, because I know a lot of people are very serious about the audio, and especially if you are doing, you know, the podcast slash video combination, that kind of ups the ante on that. So I figured it was worth mentioning, also because it's another cool tool. I've just started playing with it, because again, I'm not an audiophile, but I am finding that it's, again, I'm seeing potential that didn't really stop to consider before. So I may get a little deeper into this. We'll see. But you know, right now I'm just up to my eyeballs with work, so it won't be anytime soon. But that's the way it goes. So if you have any questions, go ahead and throw them in. But I did want to mention that in addition to all of the wonders of TechSmith and especially Camtasia, but just in general, this is how they run things. It is Mac and it is Windows. I don't like companies that make you wait, right? You should have both. So it's out. The new version is out. It is $250 if you're buying it new. If you already have a version of Camtasia, you can upgrade for $140, and it is available in, and I was impressed by this, English, French, German, Chinese, Japanese, Spanish, and Portuguese. So if you want to work with it in a different language, you're good to go. You can totally do that. There's a bunch of other things. If you go and you read the release notes, they have got a ton of other things that they have added to this and made available. I will say there's probably 2 that I'll probably end up using more. These, hands down, are the 5 things I'm using all the time now. Like, these are a part of my regular workflow. The curved corners things is like big. But so as more and more of us are starting to work with HD files, they've got a way for you to work with HD files without it dragging your system down. Basically what they're doing is they're creating proxy files. So you're making the edits to a lower res version, you know, you pick how low, of the video. But when it renders out, it's going to render out at using your higher level. So all those HD 4K videos that you're creating, you can go ahead and edit in this, and it is a little bit faster because you don't have to wait for your system to plug through all of that stuff. You're working on a slightly lower level version, but the changes that you make are applied to that higher level version when you go and render it out. The rendering time is still long because, hey, those are gigantic files. The other thing that I'm finding, and is going to be more helpful for me going forward, because I think we're going to get somebody else in to help because everybody wants training now at work. You can create, it used to be that you, like, and this is an Adobe problem too, right? When you're bringing in different files and then you need to share your setup, your file with somebody, if you don't remember to attach all of those other pieces, it ends up broken for them. Camtasia's got it set up now so that you can save everything in one package, so that whatever files, you know, wherever they are on your hard drive, if you're saying, hey, I need to create a bundle to send to somebody else, it pulls it all together so that everything goes and nothing will be broken when they get it. That's classy. That's a really nice touch. So there you go. Like I said, big fan. I think it's highly worth giving a try if you are looking for something, or if you're looking to get out of the Adobe world, right? Adobe's expensive. This is a one-time purchase, okay? Those numbers I read you, I should have made that very clear. It's $249.99, $250 if you're new to it. That's a one-time purchase. You can keep using that. You're not going to lose access to it because you didn't pay 1 month, all that nonsense. Nope. You buy it, you use it, it's yours. You're not forced into updating. It's an option if you want to. So it's $250 if you're new. It's $140 if you're looking to upgrade from any previous version. So that's another big win in my book, because I'm not a big fan of the subscriptions for everything. I have a few select ones, but I don't want all of my software to be a subscription, because you know what? Bad times come. And if I need to not be making that payment one month, okay, the subscriptions that I've got, I can work around if I have to. These kind of tools I need available all the time, so I don't want to play that game. That's me. Your world may be different, and that's fine too. All right, everybody, I think, let me just go through this real quick. Sammy, I will check into the streaming and all that. I know we can screen record. I'll check about, you can't stream, but I'm wondering if you can bring in a camera to record from. I'll look into that. Let me just see. Is there anything else? Any other questions that I missed? I want to make sure I get it all. Oh, Kelly already invested in the other one. I'm sorry. We should have chatted. I didn't know you were looking. I'm sorry. Okay. All right. So it looks like it's good. Anybody who's watching on the replay, don't feel left out. You can always throw your questions, your comments into the comments. I come back and I check them out. If you have something you want me to cover in more depth, there's something more you want me to cover in what I've just talked about. If you have a question, if you have a problem, whatever, you can always reach out. yourtechcoach.net. There's a contact form there. Feel free to reach out. All I ask is, if you need a fast answer, let me know that when you fill out the form, and let me know how to get back in touch with you, because otherwise I will have to wait and do it as a show. Okay, which is not a bad thing, but I hate for people to wait if they need something fast. So, Sammy, thank you. You are so kind. I'm guessing you're going to get ready to stream soon. It's about your time, or am I already into your time? I apologize. Thank you very much. I'm glad this is helpful. That's what I try to do. I try to share the answers so that you don't have to go through all the testing and research. I've already done it. Now you're all set to go. All right, everybody. I've got 2 doggies that are giving me the eyeball. I think I better go make them dinner before they decide to take matters into their own hands. Thank you so much. We will talk again soon. I'm here every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time with a topic. You are always welcome to jump in with other questions. Don't be shy. We'll talk soon. Bye.